Professor Zawolo again, and today we're going to be going over another section of the West African Examination Council Senior Secondary School Certificate Mathematics Examinations for Liberian School. Today we're going to be going over a section on plane geometry. We're going to be focusing on the section A, angles. So under this section we're going to be talking about the measures in degrees of adjacent angles using the linear pair theorem. We're also going to be finding the measure of the degrees using the vertical angle postulates. We're going to apply these properties to find the measures of angles. So let's go over what is an adjacent angle? Well, an adjacent angle by definition is a pair of angles with a shared vertex. That means they have a common vertex and a common side between them, but do not have overlapping interiors, meaning the interior of the angles do not cross over. For example, watch this, see some examples. So let me just pull all of this so that you see an example of adjacent angle. So these two angles here, angle ADB and BDC, are adjacent angles because they have a common vertex of D and they have a shared side, which is what? The ray AB. Now, whereas over here, angle 4 and 3 will not be adjacent angle because they do not have a shared vertex. Here's a vertex for angle 3, and over here is a vertex for angle 4. Even though they have a common side between them, but they do not have a shared vertex, so the angles here are not adjacent angles. Okay? So that's the explanation over here. Vertical angles. These are angles that form a V. So, as you can see, angle AQB and angle DQC, they form an upside down pair of V. One is up, one is down. Those two angles are vertical angles. Likewise, angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. And we're going to realize and know that vertical angles, according to the vertical angle postulates, are congruent. So again, vertical angles will be non-adjacent angles because they do not share a common side between them and they are formed by intersecting lines. So now that we have discussed this, let's go ahead and do some basic problems on this. So in problem number 1 here, we want to find the measure of angle ABC in this figure. Well, we see that the two angles are they form a linear pair, and we see that also that they are adjacent angles. They have a common side of BC between them. I'm sorry that this line is kind of like this. And then they have a common vertex of B between them. And because they are a linear pair, we know that linear pair will be angles on a straight line. So we said they are linear pair. Because they form a straight line. They are on a straight line. So because they are on a straight line, that means we have a straight angle. So if I put the vertex here, the measure of a straight angle is 180. So the sum of the linear pairs of angles would be 180 degrees. So that means we can say x minus 14 plus 2x plus 8 should be equal to 180 degrees. We can combine like terms here, and I'm going to go through it thoroughly. So I'm bringing like terms together. Negative 14 plus 8, that will give me 180, and x plus 2x will give me 3x. Negative 14 plus 8 will give me negative 6 equals to 180. I will add 6 to both sides, and I will have 3x equals to 186. And now I will divide by 3, and I'll have my x to be equal to 62. But that's the measure of x. What we want to find the measure of angle ABC. One of the ways we can represent the measure is to do M using it for measure of angle ABC. We see it's going to be given by 2x plus 8. So we'll do 2. Our x is what? 62 plus 8. 2 times 62, that's going to be 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 6 is 12. That's 124 plus 8. So that's going to be 132 degrees. Okay? And we could even double check and see if we did 62 minus 14, we're going to get 48. And then 48 plus 132 will give us 180. So we know that we are correct. So this is basically how we do a problem like this. Alright, again, the two angles here form a linear pair. Linear pairs are supplementary, meaning that they add up to 180 degrees. Now let's go ahead and do number 2. Okay. So for number 2, I don't know why this wouldn't go away. We can leave that for now. It's not bothering us. So for number 2, we have here, we see that we have a vertical pair of angles. Angle y and 2x plus 4 will be vertical angles. But here we want to find the value of y. So basically, if I were to set these two vertical angles to be equal, the problem is I'm going to have two unknowns in this problem. So even though this problem is asking me to find the value of y, I will go ahead and find both the value of y and x as a means of exposing you to more problems. So the first thing is that angle y and the angle whose measure is 50 form a linear pair of angles, and we say that they are supplementary. So I can write that y plus 50 should be equal to 180. I can subtract 50 from both sides to solve for y, and I can have y equals to what? 130 degrees. Now, so y is equal to 130 degrees. Now, how can I use this to find x? Now, I see that angle y and this angle over here form a vertical pair of angles. So vertical angles we know are congruent, that means they are equal. So I can set y to be equal to 2x plus 4. Now, I just found the value of y over here. So y is 130. I can substitute 130 over here equals to 2x plus 4. And then I'll subtract 4 from both sides. And then what I have is going to be 126 equals to 2x. Because 130 minus 4 is going to be 126. And I will divide this by 2, divide this by 2. So let's see where x is going to be. X is going to be 60, what? 63, right? Because that's 6, and then that's going to be 63. So x is 63. We can double check and see whether we are right. Well, let's see. I'm getting a little scared. X is 63 plus 4. So 63 times 2. That would be 63 times 2. That's going to be 126 plus 4. That's going to be 130, and y is 130. So they are mutually equal. So that's correct. So we are actually correct. I was only looking at them to be supplementary, which is a wrong concept. But they are vertical, so it should be equal. So that's good. Let's move to number 3. So well, in number 3, we're supposed to find the measure of angle x, y, z. Now we have been given the representation of two angles here. The two angles we have here form a linear pair. They are adjacent. So what we need to do is to use the fact that linear pairs of angles are supplementary. So we set up by doing 2y plus y minus 3 to be equal to 180. You collect like terms on this side, we're going to have 3y minus 3 equals 180. Add 3 to both sides, we're going to have 3y equals 183. divide by 3, we're going to have y equals to 61. So y is equal to 61. So now, to find our angle ZXY, we must substitute. So we say the measure of angle XYZ is equal to y minus 3. Our y is 61, 61 minus 3. So the measure angle XYZ is going to be 58 degrees. And then we are done. Well, this is basically what we want to do over here. In the future, we'll come up with other subsequent videos that will focus more on other problems involving vertical angles so that we can apply the vertical angle postulate more. But this is basically what you need to know on this section. So we hope you can find some time to visit our website and try some of the examples we have there, and get some practice. Again, this has been a production of the Foundation for Equity and Excellence in Education in Liberia, a foundation dedicated to providing high-quality content, instructional materials for Liberian students. Thank you, and like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Thanks.